Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloki Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 27, Lord Krishna's instructions on the process of deity worship. Text 13 onwards. Chala chaleti dvividha pratishtha jiva mandiram udvasa vahane nasta sthirayam uddhavarchane. The deity form of the Lord, who is a shelter of all living entities, can be established in two ways, temporarily or permanently. But a permanent deity, having been called, can never be sent away, my dear Uddhav. So having been called means once within the installation, it cannot be uninstalled. The devotees of the Lord understand themselves to be the Lord's eternal servitors, recognizing the deity to be the Lord himself. They permanently install the deity and engage in perpetual worship. The impersonalists, however, regard the eternal form of the Lord as a temporary manifestation of illusion. In fact, they regard the deity form as a mere stepping stone in their ambitious program to become God. Because Mayavadis or impersonalists think we all are God, we all are one. So for them, deity worship is just a means of getting towards that goal of I am one with the Lord. Materialistic persons of whatever stripe consider the Lord to be their order supplier, and so they make temporary arrangements or religious ceremonies to achieve temporary material sense gratification. This temporary mode of worship is favored by those desiring to exploit the personality of Godhead for their personal ends, whereas the loving devotees in Krishna consciousness eternally engage in worship of the personality of God. They install permanent deities meant to be worshipped perpetually. So they install permanent deities meant to be worshipped perpetually. This is the difference between deity worship of a devotee by a devotee and karmis. Karmis, they just want, like in religious occasions, Durga Puja festival, they install the deities and after that, they're gone. The purpose is solved. They worship Durga Ji for some material benefits and then do, of course, they do according to their understanding of Visarjan, how they do the Visarjan. But this is not the purpose of deity worship, actually. By deity worship, or by worshipping the deity, or especially the deity of Lord Krishna in our homes, we understand, or we come to this understanding that this house and everybody, everything in the house belongs to the Lord. That's why it's called Thakurji. Thakurji means that he's the Lord of the house. So it's not like it's our house and he has some small place in it. And unfortunately, in how we worship the Lord in our homes, we find the worst possible corner to put the altar in, where nothing else can be done. So we make the altar and in some corner, and it's kept dirty, hardly ever cleansed. Okay, maybe on Diwali and some special day we clean, we go and clean, and then there will be dal ka dabba over there and achar is kept there. And no, that's not how we worship the most important person in the whole universe, the Lord of the whole universe. It depends on our means, but we still have to have very nice, clean place for him, and has to be worshipped to to the standard, whatever standard of opulence we can worship him with. We should worship him with that way. And in return, he's ready to give himself, not just himself though. I mean, he's ready to give anything and everything we want. Just do the proper service. Yesterday, in the shloka, it came 8 kinds of deities, and the deity can be formed in mind also. So it's we just make up any figure. No, I mean, whatever is mentioned in the scriptures, a figure of Lord Krishna, Lord Ram, or Radha Krishna, Sita Ram, to be worshipped. But we can worship them, perform the worship in our minds also, and he is so kind. He accepts it. So there was a Brahmin who was very poor, and he wanted to do deity worship, but he was very poor. He didn't have anything that he could have a set of deities and install and serve them nicely. He could not do that, but he had a very, very strong desire. So once he was in a katha, and that katha sadhu said that we can worship the Lord in our mind also, and he accepted. Because mind is also one of his energies, and we are serving him in one of his energies. He will accept it. So this Brahman, he heard it and he said, "Wow, this is nice. That's great to hear." So next day when he came and when he got up, and he in his mind, he's sitting in his hut, and he bathed and he sat down, and in his mind he collected pots made of gold and studded with emerald and diamonds, because in his mind there's no limit whatever he can create. And in those pots he got the water from Ganges, Yamuna, and all the rivers. And he, in his mind, he made the deity of Lord Vishnu, and he bathed the deity of Lord Vishnu, and then he started cooking for Lord Vishnu. And he made elaborate preparations, all in his mind. Everything is going on, but he was doing very, very sincerely. And he prepared a nice offering in a bhoga, silver plate, and he offered silver or golden plate, and he offered it to the Lord, and then he did the arati in the mind. He spent nice time doing all this. Then he did the worship, and then in whatever way we ask, we wash his hands, and he finished, and everything he put back. And next day again, he did everything in his mind. And he felt very nice that the Lord is accepting. So one day, he was performing this worship in his mind. And the Lord in Vaikuntha, he started laughing. And Lakshmiji asked him, "Why did you laugh? What happened?" And Lord explained, "Oh, here is a devotee of mine. Wonderful devotee, but so simple, poor. He doesn't have any money, so he is doing this kind of mental service. And he has been doing." So Lakshmiji said, "What happened today? Why are you laughing?" He said, and the Lord said, "Well, this Brahman, he prepared sweet rice in his mind. So he prepared the stove, he put from the pot he prepared in, he put it in the bowl to be offered to me, and to check it, because sweet rice, it is said, it has to be served cold, not hot. Then to check it whether it is at the right temperature. Everything is going on in Brahman's mind, not physical. He put his finger in the sweet rice bowl to test if it is hot or if it is cold, and it was little too hot. But when he put his finger in the bowl, his finger got burnt. Not just mentally. His meditation, concentration broke. His finger was burnt, really burnt. So he was just looking at his finger, and the Lord started. Now his devotion is complete, and Lord sent. his dutas to bring back that Brahman to Vaikuntha. This is the mercy of the Lord. And can anybody say the Shudras cannot perform this kind of worship or ladies cannot? No, everybody can perform. But if we have the means, we should perform it physically as well. But in case sometimes if we are traveling or we cannot have our deities with us, we can perform and we should perform this mental sevas, and the Lord accepts it. This is His mercy. Asthirayam vikalpasya standile tu bhavedvayam snapnam tva vilayapyayam anyatra parimarjanam. The deity that is temporarily established can optionally be called forth and sent away. But these two rituals should always be performed when the deity is traced upon the ground. Traced upon the ground means with some paint, if they are made. Bathing should be done with water except if the deity is made of clay, paint, or wood, in which cases a thorough cleansing without water is enjoined. The various classes of devotion, the deity of the personality of Godhead according to the various stages of faith in the Lord. An advanced devotee of Lord Krishna understands his eternal loving relationship with the Lord, and seeing the deity as the Lord himself establishes an eternal relationship with the deity based on loving servitude to him. Understanding Lord Krishna to be the eternal form of bliss and knowledge, a faithful devotee makes a permanent arrangement for deity worship, installing the Lord form made of, for example, stone, wood, or marble. The Shaligram Shila is considered to be automatically installed, even without a formal ceremony, and so it is forbidden to call a deity with mantras or ask a deity to leave. On the other hand, if one prepares a deity form by drawing on sanctified ground or by constructing a sand image, one must call the deity with mantras and then ask the deity to leave the external form, which will soon be demolished by the natural elements. So this is for those who do this Visarjan, Ganesh Visarjan and Durga Visarjan. The general principle is that a pure devotee of the Lord understands his relationship with the deity to be eternal. The more one surrenders in loving devotion to the deity, more one can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Krishna is a person, but he is a supreme person, possessing his own unique feeling. One can easily please the Lord by devotional service offered to his deity form. By pleasing the Lord, one can gradually progress in the mission of human life and eventually go back home, back to Godhead, where the deity personally appears before the devotee and welcomes the devotee to his personal abode, known throughout the world as the kingdom of God. Now, this is also something to understand, where the deity personally appears before the devotee. So throughout our life, if we are used to worshipping the deity, whether it's Radha Krishna, and we get loving relationship with that deity, because deity means we develop that loving relationship with him. And this is what happens. Then that deity, now Krishna in the spiritual world, in what form he is going to come and greet us. As I said, the deity personally appears before the devotee and welcomes the devotee to his personal abode. So there is no limit to the number of deities, size, shape, face, form of the deities, and those deities will appear. If we have developed that kind of love, and when we leave the body, we go back, that deity will come and welcome us personally. Isn't that amazing? And people say, oh, there is only one God. Well, there is one God, but he can have Hari Ananta, Hari Katha Ananta. He can have different forms. Why? How can we put condition on God that you can have only one form? We cannot put any condition. He is just beyond any conditions. Dravya prasiddhair siddhair madhyaga pratim adishvamayina bhaktasya chaita labdhair hridhi bhavena chavahi. One should worship me in my deity forms by offering the most excellent paraphernalia. But a devotee completely freed from material desire may worship me with whatever he is able to obtain, and may even worship me within his heart with mental paraphernalia. See, we just talked about that. A devotee still troubled by material desire tends to see the world as an object of sense gratification. Such a neophyte devotee may understand the Lord's supreme position and may even consider the Lord an object of his own enjoyment. Hence, the neophyte must offer opulent paraphernalia to the deity so that he may constantly remember that the deity is a supreme enjoyer and that he, the neophyte, is simply the worshipper and is actually meant for the deity's pleasure. In contrast, an advanced devotee, one fixed in Krishna consciousness, never forgets that the Supreme Lord is actual enjoyer and controller of everything. The pure devotee offers his unalloyed love to the personality of Godhead, along with whatever paraphernalia is easily obtained. A Krishna conscious devotee does not waver in his devotion to Lord Krishna. And even with the simplest offering, he completely satisfies the personality of Godhead. Even with simplest offerings. And he can offer it in the mind also. In Nectar of Devotion, whenever we get to study that, we'll study in deity worship. Another thing that is important is one should offer seasonal fruits, whatever the fruits are there in that season, one should offer. Because, of course, the deity, the Lord, is a master of our house. So, not our house, it's his house, it's his place, his temple, and he should be offered the best things that we can offer. Nanalankaranam precham archayam evatudhava andile tattva vinyaso bhava vannavajya plutam havi surya chabhyar haranam preshtam salile saliladidhi Shraddhyopahritam preshtam bhaktin mam varyapi. In worshipping the temple deity, my dear Uddhav, bathing and decoration are the most pleasing offerings. For the deity traced on sacred ground, the process of Tattva Vinyas is most dear. Oblations of sesame and barley soaked in ghee are the preferred offerings to the sacrificial fire, whereas worship consisting of upasthan and argya is preferred for the sun. One should worship me in the form of water by offering water itself. Actually, whatever is offered to me with faith by my devotee, even if only a little water, is most dear to me. With faith and love, and this is what he has in Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, Yomim Bhaktya Prayachati. With love and devotion, when my devotee offers me, I accept it. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is present everywhere, and Vedic culture prescribes various ritualistic methods of worshipping the Lord in his various manifestations. The principal item is the faith and devotion of the worshipper, without which everything else is useless, as the Lord describes in the next verse. Bhuri api bhakto apahritam name toshaya kalpate gandho dhupa sumanaso dipo annadyam chakim punaha. Even very opulent presentations do not satisfy me if they are offered by non-devotees. But I am pleased by any insignificant offering made by my loving devotees. And I am certainly most pleased when nice presentations of fragrant oil, incense, flowers, and palatable foods are offered with love. See, this is Krishna is explaining how deity worship should be done. Of course, more explanations and more how the mantras, what mantras to be chanted, and different mudras to be used, different articles, how we offer these articles to the Lord. Everything is explained in different scriptures. But here Krishna himself is saying, I am most pleased when nice presentations of fragrant oil, incenses, flowers, and palatable foods are offered with love. And on top of it, if you just put one tulsi leaf on every preparation, then he cannot say no to that, to that offering. The Lord has stated in the previous verse that even a little water offered with love and devotion gives him great pleasure. Therefore, the words Kim Puna indicate the Lord's complete happiness when a suitably opulent offering is made with love and devotion. But an opulent offering made by a non-devotee cannot please the Lord. As Srila Jiva Goswami explains, the rules and regulations concerning deity worship and the listing of offenses against the deities are all meant for helping one avoid precisely this kind of disrespectful or neglectful attitude towards the personality of Godhead in its deity form. In fact, all offenses against the deity are based upon irreverence and disregard for the Lord's position as master, and thus upon disobedience to his orders. Since one must worship the deity with reverence, one should offer opulent presentations to the deity with love. For such presentations both enhance the respectfulness of the worshipper and help him avoid offenses in his worship. So respect for the deities. Love comes much later. First we do it with respect, with reverence, so we don't commit offenses against the deities. Offenses are mentioned in Nectar of Devotion, so we'll study that when we're there. Shuchi Sambhrita Sambhara Pragdarbha Kalpitasana Asina Pragu Tagvarcheda Archayam Tvatasammukha. After cleansing himself and collecting all the paraphernalia, the worshipper should arrange his own seat with blades of kusha grass whose tips point eastward. He should then sit facing east or north, or else if the deity is fixed in one place, he should sit directly facing the deity. The word Sambhrit Sambhara means that before beginning the deity worship, one should place all necessary paraphernalia nearby. In this way, one will not have to get up continually to search for different items. If the deity has been permanently installed, then one should sit facing the deity. And if this kusha grass is not available, don't worry about it. Just use a simple asana and do the worship. Kritanyasam madarcham paninam vijet kalasham prokshaniyam cha yatavad upasadhayet. The devotee should sanctify the various parts of his body by touching them and chanting mantras. He should do the same for my deity forms, and then with his hands he should deity of old flowers and remnants of previous offerings. He should properly prepare the sacred part and the vessel containing water for sprinkling. So beginning the process of worship mentioned here, one should offer obeisances to one's spiritual master, the deity, and other worship personalities. Means taking permission from them to begin the deity worship. Tadadbhir devi yajanam dravyanyatma manam evacha proksha patrani trinyadhis tastar dravyascha sadhaye. Then with the water of that prokshaniya vessel, a vessel where we keep the water for sprinkling, he should sprinkle the area where the deity is being worshipped, the offering that are going to be presented, and his own body. Next, he should decorate with various auspicious substances 3 vessels filled with water. Srila Sridhar Swami gives references from Vedic literature saying the water meant for bathing the feet should be combined with millet seeds, durva grass mixed in water, Vishnu Kranta flowers, and other items. The water used for arghya should include the following 8 items: fragrant oil, flowers, unbroken barley corns, husk barley corns, or tips of kusha grass, sesame seeds, mustard seeds, and durva grass. The water for sipping should include jasmine flowers, ground cloves, and kakola berries. Of course, this is for temple deity worship. At homes, don't need to go through all this. And when somebody is ready for temple deity worship, he'll get the training by the pujaris. But this is to understand that deity worship has to be done properly according to scriptures, not just unfortunately in so many temples, the name of deity worship, what goes on is just a joke actually. And especially in regular Devi Devta, demigod temples, Hindu temples, there we see the pujari is wearing so much of gold and other jewelry. The deities are wearing only fake jewelries, and they don't even clean the or change the dressing or do the dressing daily or clean the jewelry or the clothes. The clothes will see it with all the dust on it. And then we expect the deities, and we are begging the deities for everything, money and power and position and all the comforts of life, and see how the deities are being served. This is ridiculous. Deities means service has to be very, very often, very nicely. They should be served. पाद्यार्थ अर्ध्याच मन्नीयार्थम त्रीणि पात्राणि देशिका शीर्षणार्थ शिखया गायत्र्या चाभिमन्त्रे. The worshipper should then purify those three vessels. He should sanctify the vessel holding water for washing the Lord's feet by chanting Hridayaya Namaha. The vessel containing water for Arghya by chanting Shirase Swaha. And the vessel containing water for washing the Lord's mouth by chanting Shikhaya Vashat. Also, the Gayatri mantra should be chanted for all the three vessels. Pindevaya Vagni Sanchuddhe Hrit Padmastham Paraha Andavivakalam Dhyayen Nadante Siddhabhavitam. The worshipper should meditate upon mindful form which is situated within the worshipper's own body, now purified by air and fire, as a source of all living entities. This form of the Lord is experienced by self-realization as part of the vibration of sacred syllable Om. So according to Srila Sridhar Swami, the Pranav or Omkar has 5 parts, A-U-M, the nasal bindu and the reverberation, Nada. Liberated souls meditate upon the Lord at the end of that reverberation. At the end of that, the sound goes Om, so at the end, they meditate on the Lord. Tayatma bhutya pinde vyapte sampujya tanmaya avahya havayar chartishu sthapya nestangam mam prapujayet. The devotee conceives of the super soul whose presence surcharges the devotee's body in the form corresponding to his realization. Thus the devotee worships the Lord to his full capacity and becomes fully absorbed in him. By touching the various limbs of the deity and chanting appropriate mantras, the devotee should invite the super soul to join the deity's form, and then the devotee should worship me. So this is how the Lord enters any form, any murti. The body of a devotee is pervaded by the Supreme Lord, just as a house is pervaded by the glow of a lamp. Just as one gestures in a friendly way to indicate that guests should enter one's house, one touches the body of the deity, chants appropriate mantras, and enthusiastically invites a super soul to enter the form of the deity. Since both the deity and the super soul are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they are not different. One form of the Lord can immediately become manifest in another. Padyopasparsharhanadina upcharan prakalpayet dharmadhiveshya navabhi kalpetva sanam mama Padmashchadalam tatra karne ka kesarojvalam ubhabhyam veda tantrabhyam mayam tubhaya siddhaya. The worshipper should first imagine my seat as decorated with the personified deities of religion, knowledge, renunciation, and opulence, and with my 9 spiritual energies. He should think of the Lord's sitting place as an 8-petalled lotus, effulgent on account of the saffron filaments within its hold. Then, following the regulations of both the Vedas and the Tantras, he should offer me water for washing the feet, water for washing the mouth, arghya, and other items of worship. By this process, he achieves both material enjoyment and liberation. So, water for washing the feet. So, this is specifically when we offer bhoga to the Lord. So when we have offered, we made the asan for the Lord to sit down. From his deity form, we ask him to come, take the asan, and then there is bhoga plate in front of him. But before that, before he is going to eat, we offer to wash his hands, wash his mouth. See, he's a person. It's not like is just some murti and we just make a show of making the offering. No, it's with he's a person. When we offer here's the water for his hand washing, here's the water for his mouth washing, here's the water for that he can sip before starting to eat. And after in the temple, this is what happens. So when the pujari comes and the Lord has accepted the offerings, he comes and takes the plates away. But before that, he asks the Lord, again, he washes his hand, washes his mouth, and asks him to go back in his deity form and get the worship. And then he cleanses, takes the plate away, cleans the area where Lord has just sat down and accepted the offerings. He's a person. At night, of course, we don't have big beds because the altar is not that big sometimes. And then the smaller beds are there, and we ask the Lord with proper puja, proper way to come and take rest. There's proper pillow is there, bed, nice cushion is there, and if it is cold, we give rajai also. All the arrangement for the Lord. He's a person. Of course, he's a supreme person, not just ordinary person. So there are many, many rules for deity worship, many rules. But those devotees, those pujaris who enjoy it, and they learn everything, and then they enjoy doing this service very, very nicely. There is only one drawback in deity worship, which is when we worship the deities for such a long time, we start becoming familiar with them. Then we don't treat them as Supreme Lord. Now, in that, what happens is when familiarity beats contempt, when we might commit offense against it. We don't have to treat him as Supreme Lord if there is so much of love developed for the deities. But in the process, we have to be very careful not to commit offenses. But if somebody does proper worship, Krishna himself said, by this process he achieves both material enjoyment and liberation, both. According to Srila Sridhar Swami, religion, knowledge, renunciation, opulence are the legs of the Lord's sitting platform and occupy the 4 corners, beginning with the southeast. Irreligion, ignorance, attachment, and wretchedness are the intermediate legs, standing in the 4 directions, beginning with the east. The 9 Shaktis or potencies of the Lords are Vimala, Utkarshini, Jnana, Kriya, Yoga, Prahavi, Satya, Ishana, and Anugraha. Of course, just different, deeper knowledge, deeper understanding of Krishna's place. Sudarshanam Panchajanyam Gadasishu Dhanurhalam Mushalam Kostubham Malam Shrivatsam Chanupujayet. One should worship in order the Lord Sudarshan disc, his Panchajanya Kanchan, his club, sword, bow, arrows, and plow, his mushal weapon, his Kostub gem, his flower garland, and the Shrivatsa curl of the hair on his chest. So everything belongs to the Lord is worshipable. Nandam Sunandam Garunam Prachandam Chandam Evacha Mahabalam Balam Cheva Kumudam Kamudekshanam. One worship the Lord's associates, Nanda, Garuda, Prachanda, Chanda, Mahabal and Bal and Kumud and Kumudekshana. Durgam Vinayakam Vyasam Vishwakshenam Gurun Suran Svese Sthane Tva Vimukhan Pujiyat Prokshanadibhi. With rituals such as Prokshan, one should worship Durga, Vinayak, Vyasa, Vishwaksena, the spirituals, and the various demigods. All these personalities should be in their proper places facing the deity of the Lord. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the Ganesh and Durga mentioned in this verse are not the same personalities present within the material world. Rather, they are the eternal associates of the Lord in Vaikuntha. So in Vaikuntha also there's Ganesh and Durga, but they are Ganesh and Durga. In this world, Ganesha, the son of Lord Shiva, is famous for awarding financial success. And the goddess Durga, the wife of Lord Shiva, is famous as the external illusory potency of the Supreme Lord. The personalities mentioned here, however, are eternally liberated associates of the Lord who reside in the spiritual sky, beyond the material manifestation. Srila Jiva Goswami quotes from various Vedic literatures to prove that the name Durga may also indicate the internal potency of the Lord, who is non-different from him. The external or covering potency of the Lord expands from this original Durga. The Durga of the material world, called Mahamaya, assumes the function of bewildering the living entities. Thus, a devotee should not fear becoming polluted by worshipping the Durga mentioned here, who has the same name as illusion, but rather the devotee must show respect to these writers of the Supreme Lord in Vaikuntha. So it just, we have to see how we worship them and with what mood we worship. And that is why, one of the reasons Prabhupada did not allow demigod worship in ISKCON is so that devotees don't get confused. So don't get confused. Don't do it. Although in Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami has mentioned one should worship Ganesha first before worshipping Krishna. But Prabhupada said, no, don't need to do that, just worship Krishna. Chankira Karpura Kumkuma Guru Vasita Salila Snapayen Mantra Nityada Vibhave Sati Swarna Gharmanu Vakena Mahapurush Vidyaya Purushena Pisuktena Samabhi Rajanadibhi. The worshipper should bathe the deity every day as opulently as his assets permit, using water scented with sandalwood, Ushira root, camphor, kumkum, and aguru. Aguru is an incense. He should also chant various Vedic hymns such as Anuvak, known as Swarna Karma, and the Mahapurush Vidya, the Purusha Shukta, and the various songs of the Samveda such as Rajan and Rohinya. The Purusha Shukta prayers beginning Sahasra Shirsha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat is contained within the Rig Veda. So this Purusha Shukta prayers were mentioned in Bhagavatam earlier. Some canto, they were there. Vastropavita Bharana Patra Sriga Gandha Lepana Alankuravita Saprema Madbhakto Mam Yathochitam. My devotee should then lovingly decorate me with clothing, a Brahman thread, various ornaments, marks of tilak and garlands, and should anoint my body with fragrant oils, all in the prescribed manner. Srila Swami quotes Lord Shri Vishnu's instructions to Ambarish Maharaj and Vishnu Dharma Upapurana as follows. Absorbing your mind completely in the deity, you should give up all other shelter and consider the deity your intimate well-wisher. You should mentally worship him and meditate upon him while you walk, while you stand, while you sleep, and while you eat. You should see the deity in front of you, behind, above, below, and on both sides. In this way, you should constantly remember my deity form. In the Gautamiya Tantra, one is enjoined to give the deity of the Lord a Brahman thread, if possible, one made of gold. In the Narsimha Purana, it is stated, if one offers to Lord Govinda a yellow sacred thread containing 3 strands of silk, he will become an expert in Vedanta. Can you imagine that? So Brahman thread to the deity, and deity is beyond any varnashram, but this is what he likes. So we offer the Brahman thread to the deity, and in fact, in ISKCON temples, Brahman thread is offered. Now, sometimes some temples they offer it every Ekadashi, so they change the thread every Ekadashi. Some places they offer every Purnima, I guess. It depends. Mostly it's Ekadashi, they change the thread on Ekadashi. Padyam Achamaniya Gandham Sumanasu Sakshapam Dhupa Deepopaharyani Tadyan Me Shraddhyarchaka. The worshipper should faithfully present me with water for washing my feet and mouth, fragrant oils, flowers, and unbroken grains, along with incense, lamps, and other offerings. Gud Paya Sarapishi Shashkulya Pupmodakan Sayavadadhi Supansha Naivedyam Sati Kalpayet. Within his means, the devotee should arrange to offer me sugar candy, sweet rice, ghee, shashkuli, which is rice flour cakes, apupa, various sweet cakes, modak, steamed rice flour dumplings filled with sweet coconut and sugar. This was the original momos. Now they become momos. Samyava, wheat cakes made with ghee and milk and covered with sugar and spices. Yogurt, vegetable soups, and other palatable foods. So one can acquire detailed information on proper and improper foods to offer in deity worship by consulting Sri Haridhakti Vilas. It's given other places. Abhyangon Mardanaadarsha Danta Dhava Abhishechanam Annadya Gityani Parvani Sur Uttanvaham. On special occasions and daily, if possible, deity should be massaged with ointment, a mirror, offered a twig for cleaning his teeth, bathed with 5 kinds of nectar, offered all kinds of opulent foods, and entertained with singing and dancing. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes the process of deity worship as follows. First, the deity's teeth should be cleaned and his body massaged with fragrant, rubbed with vermilion, camphor powder, and so forth. Then he should be bathed with fragrant water and 5 kinds of nectar. Next, one should offer valuable silk garments and jeweled arts to the deity. Smear his body with sandalwood paste and offer him garlands and other gifts. After this, one should hold a mirror in front of the deity and then offer fragrant oil, flowers, incense, lamps, and scented water for refreshing the mouth. One should offer all types of palatable foods, fragrant water, betel nuts, garlands, arati lamps, a bed to rest on, and so on. One should also fan the deity and perform instrumental music, singing, and dancing. This deity worship must be performed on special occasions, such as holidays, if one can afford it, daily. According to Srila Sridhar Swami, Ekadashi is an appropriate day for performing special deity worship. So showing him the mirror. So this happened in temples, ISKCON temples, at the time of Darshanarti, when Pujari finishes dressing the deities, and before the Aarti has to go on, so he takes a mirror in front of the deities and let them look at how, just like if he had dressed nice clothes every morning after bathing, then we want to see in the mirror. Look, so also want to see how do they look. They are a person. Deities is a person, not just murti. Nobody does that for murti. This kind of so much of elaborate worship for for any rock or wood. It's a deity. Vedina vihite kunde, mekla garta vedvi, agne madhaya parita, samoheta pani noditam. In an arena constructed according to scriptural injunctions, the devotee should perform a fire sacrifice, utilizing the sacred belt, the sacrificial pit, and the altar mount. When igniting the sacrificial fire, the devotee should bring it to a blaze with wood piled up by his own hands. Paristiriyat pariyuksheta anvadhaya yatha vidhi prokshanya sadhya dravyani prokshagno bhavayet mam. After spreading kusha grass on the ground and sprinkling it with water, one should perform the anvadhan ritual according to the prescribed rules. Then one should arrange the items to be offered as oblation, should sanctify them with water from the sprinkling vessel. The worshipper should next meditate upon me within the fire. Jiva Goswami mentions that one should meditate upon the Lord as a super soul within the sacrificial fire. Okay, I guess we can stop here. Some more details are there. Let's take it up tomorrow. See anybody have questions or comments.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, are these the preparatory works for deity? Is it pran? Can we call it as pran pratishtha?
Yeah.
While doing that pran pratishtha, we do this.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
So you will see all of it in your dhyana.
Absolutely.
Many things will go on. Oh, it's amazing.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So I guess we can. Yeah, you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare